Hey, JJ here, and this is the Lens of Truth podcast where we play through the oldies and modern goldies to give you our opinion. With nearly 100 years of gaming between all of us, we see how well these gems hold up in our eyes. With me today, we have.
It's ATI.
Firefly.
And Zerovii.
And today we are doing Emio, the Smiling Man, a Famicom Detective Club game. And this is a special one. I believe I recommended it this time.
Yes, this was your call.
The local visual novel guy, but also Firefly has her own accolades in that genre too.
Yes.
But yeah, I have a lot to say, but I also want to hear out you guys. How was your experience with this visual novel? Because you guys don't play too many. You do. You have experience with it. But this one's kind of out of left field, I feel like, especially for Nintendo and the co-developer Mages. So how'd you feel, ATI?
So I'll give my general background in VNs. I've dabbled my toes in a few. I've played the Danganronpas. I've played the 999s, the VLR, all the popular stuff. Some Steins Gates, you know.
Booyah Scramble, right? That's on your list.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Baldur's Sky eventually.
Yeah.
You know, nothing like you guys have done, but eventually. But yeah, this game, it had Nintendo polish to it. It was a very special, clean experience. The production values were out of this world. Everything about this was like the top of its class. Like you can tell that Nintendo came along and flexed its muscles and was like, all right, I'm going to help you make a visual novel. You want to make a visual novel? I'll show you how to make a visual novel. And like
Here's a
made the
giant
budget
stack
go
of
up.
money.
Yeah, just tosses its Wario bag of money at you. Yeah, this was a really cool one. How do you feel,
Nice.
Firefly?
Well, I really, really love this game. It was different, as in like it's very like dark, but but just very good. I have a lot of other uh notes about it.
Nice.
And you've played a lot of visual novels too, right?
Yes,
Does this
many
one
of them.
does this one stand out in your mind as like, because you know me and you always talk about science adventure games and how they feel next level. When I found out Mages helped make this, it made sense as to why this feels next level. Like replaying it, it's got that anonymous code level of like visual novel like polish to it. It's got the beautiful like music and everything's so clean, like ATI said. It and then you play other visual novels, and you're kind of just like, oh, they had a shoestring budget, and there's not really like crazy animations going on. It's just like static images with some text. So did you feel it was up to par on that like science adventure level in terms of like what it was doing?
Yes, I think for me it probably had one of the best narrative uh out of most of the games I've played.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely special. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours, give or take, and it makes you feel. And I think that's the goal of any visual novel. When I play it, I want to
It's a decent
feel.
sized, like little detective novel.
Absolutely. What about you,
You
Zero?
actually feel like a detective in this game too.
Yeah, they do a great job of that. They do.
On my end, I have not played as many VNs as you guys have. I played my Phoenix Wrights, my Danganronpas. Did not get to AI Somnium Files. Do need to. Didn't get to
Brilliant games,
999
by the
and
way.
BLR. I'm desperately waiting for that Hotel Dusk sequel and remake.
Oh, it better come.
It better.
Another
So
code did well.
that it did. That might be another episode we do at some point.
Oh, I would fucking cry. Please.
I'm for it. I love an excuse to play more of these because I definitely enjoyed my time with Smiling Man, and I definitely want to go back and play the other two in both versions, the original and also the Switch one. I think it'd be an interesting look at some point on my own personal time to stream those and get my reactions for them. So I really enjoyed seeing this. This was like they said, there's definitely a lot of room for growth, and this definitely grew a lot from what VNs are kind of known to do. This did a lot with the medium, a lot of spooky storytelling and suspenseful drama. I don't want to overplay my hand of like all the things that surprise us, but I just want to say like there are more twists and turns, and it definitely made me engage with it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Nice. That was kind of what I was fishing for with this. When you ask someone to read a visual novel, it's a time sink, whether it's 10 hours or 170 hours, like Last Defense Academy or Baldur's Sky. It's a big ask because you have to shut off distractions, no phones. You have to immerse yourself. It's a much more demanding
Again,
gameplay.
it's literally a novel. You have to put everything away and just read it.
Yeah, so I wanted to know if you guys did enjoy your time with it, and it sounds like you guys did, so that's good. That makes me be able to sleep at night because recommending visual novels for this was I was a little nervous, but spooky month, it's 10 hours, no longer than, our games we've been playing. I was like, hey, let's try it out. Maybe they'll have their minds blown. Maybe it'll open up the visual novel door. And it seems like we got some of that from you guys, which is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, the door has definitely been open. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, I played that too. Yeah, I played that. I played this one. They kind of, I played a decent share of them, but yeah.
Yeah, and going back to what Zero said, wanting to play the original version, or of
Oh yeah,
the
I was gonna
Famicom
ask,
detective games. Go on.
how is this related to Famicom Detective Club? Like,
It's
is this like in a
loosely,
series or?
yeah,
Well, it's the same two protagonists. So like you're playing as the character from the second game, I believe, the boy.
mhm.
Ayumi was the character, like the protagonist or uh, co-protagonist in both 1 and 2.
Yeah. I believe there's a
But it's
third
kind of
one in Japan that we didn't get yet. I might
I'm
be
not.
skewing that. I feel
I
like
think that was just a remake, but I'm not sure because I kind of looked up the series as well, and I only saw like 3 entries total.
okay, gotcha.
Oh, so was this specifically a new entry and not a remake?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
brand new, like
this is
Oh,
brand
neat,
new.
neat.
fresh, because they saw the
Yeah,
success of the
I
other
would honestly
games.
be surprised if this story came out back in the day on Famicom.
Yeah, it'd be
That
hard
would
to really tell it in the way it wants to, without jumping too ahead. But yeah,
that would
it'd
actually be
be
a very fun remake project. Actually, that might be
that
something I'd
would be
try to do
cool.
for fun on the side.
Yeah, but going
Well,
back,
less like technically wise, but like more the themes and
mhm,
what goes on.
yeah, no, for sure. Because going back to what Zero said about wanting to play the original versus like the remake of the other Famicom detective games, there's the Yuji Horii visual novel, or visual adventure game. If we're being very specific for any of the sticklers out there, there's the Hokkaido serial murder case or the Okoto's disappearance, and that had a remake just recently on the Switch that I played last year. And when you put the cartridge in the Switch, it loads up the original Famicom game and the remake, so you can play both side by side and kind of like
Ooh,
see how they go. It's not translated because it's a straight up Famicom kind of port.
Just showing
Uh,
you what it was. And it's like, hey, check
yeah,
this out.
but it is cool that they kept the legacy title with that because this is similar. Like this Hokkaido serial murder case, not quite as dark, not nearly as dark, but it does take similar like detective kind of adventure beats that you would see in the Famicom detective games. So that's another one that flew under everyone's radars. You could get like a Asian English physical copy off of like PlayAsia or whatever, and that's a great like again 10 to 15 hour visual novel. And Yuji Horii wrote like a third act for the remake that takes place like 35 years later, like real life. So you play as the dog. Like, oh, it's so good.
Cool.
It's really good.
That
And if
lines
you
up
like,
just like Twin Peaks season 3 being 25 years later.
it does. And hey, we know how much Japan loves Twin Peaks.
There you
Uh,
go.
But yeah, going back to Emio, I guess the basics. It starts off, gameplay. Usually, we get a little bit into gameplay and how it makes us feel. There's not too much in the way of gameplay. As we said, it's a visual novel or adventure, visual adventure game. So you just have a little menu. There's things you get to choose from, and basically you just kind of find your way through the scenarios, the conversations, the places it brings you, um, and that's really the extent of the gameplay. I
As
don't
far as
think
the
I'm.
little things go, like the Nintendo polish is definitely there. Like even in the options, like you can set the auto text advance to only skip things that you've seen, things like that.
Mhm.
That is
That's
probably
the
standard, but
mages.
like it's
That's
nice
the
to have.
mages. That's the mages polish.
Yeah, that's the
They're
major special.
Yep.
So like if you get to a dead end in a dialogue tree, you have that option on, and it's like, okay, this text skips, so I know I've been here. I
Hmm.
can go back to the dialogue and look for something else now.
Yep. Yep. So they did streamline it. They made it as palatable as possible using like something that's almost 40 years old in terms of like UI and how things play out. Um,
Yeah, it's a simple menu. You have a list of commands that are like call, ask, listen, look, show, use your phone, think, like stuff like that. And like it's all listed down like it's a RPG menu. Like you're gonna select your next action. You can look around and investigate things on the screen with your pointer.
mhm.
It's not too much around. It's kind of basic with the things that you can interact with compared to like an actual mages game, I think. But that's fine. This is like a straightforward story. There's not like a lot of glancing off to the side. There's like here's your main dish. Here's everything on. There's like no unnecessary parts in this really.
Mhm.
A lot of visual novels have a problem of what I call waffling,
Mhm.
where a lot of dialogue tends to overextend itself. They tend to over-explain situations or like the story or recap things or say things you already know 500. This doesn't really do that too much. There's maybe like one it's one small section where it maybe got close to doing that, but like for the most part, this was a streamlined experience.
And
So
a lot of that,
having that basic thing, just like the basic controls and everything, just kind of worked out for that. It was like it knew what it was and it
yeah,
gave itself to you.
a lot of that in context of this game too, kind of like lends itself to like if it does like waffle around or kind of repeat, that's usually because you're talking to another person and like
Yeah, it's
yeah,
literally a detective game, so
yeah,
like you have to
exactly.
Yeah.
understand.
So it's very textured in the sense of like, you feel out the characters, you feel out the scenarios, you kind of recap at the end of each, chapter, kind of
Yeah,
for a
this
little
game had none
quiz.
of that extra waffly. It was just like, okay, yeah, it knows what it wants to say to you. So I really
Yeah.
Yeah,
appreciated that.
it's definitely a tricky line for the game to thread, and it definitely managed it because a lot of it is like you're just talking,
Mhm.
like as Fox said, that you talk to some or JJ, you talk to someone and they just like waffle on about something, and you have to select think on what they just said, and
Yeah,
is
I'd
it
say it's
relevant or
more
not, and ask them
reiterating than
more.
waffling because,
Yeah,
like, it really does, like, if you're talking to a person, like, you wouldn't have that conversation with, the person that you're talking to. Like,
yeah,
you would need to reiterate some things. But I do get what ATI was saying, where, like, there are some visual novels where it's just like, it shoves it down your throat. It's like, did you forget? And it's like,
You
no,
have
this
like
was
an
10 minutes
hour of
ago.
like you talk to another character and you guys talk about your whole adventure. One of my like lines that I kind of uh keep in mind while I play visual novels is my counter. How many times the protagonist says "huh," which is just like a way to get people to over explain things again or like wiki dump on you.
Mhm.
Which shout outs to 999 wiki dump champs, by the way, in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this game had like three Hus. I was very impressed by it. It was maybe the lowest Huh counter I've seen in any visual novel.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Final Fantasy Tactics. I have a giant collection of anytime someone's scared, anytime something is scary, I take a screenshot. There was none of that in Final Fantasy Tactics because that game is so well written that if someone was scared, they would be like, the fear within my soul trembles. Like, it was never like, I'm real scared of you. Like, so it,
Yeah, or they like tell the demons to flee from their hearts
yeah,
or whatever.
it's written so well, and I was like, I got like maybe 2 scared lines in that game, whereas I have like 900
Ain't
for
nobody
like
scared.
for other games. There's like games where there'll be like 40 screenshots of scared in like a span of like 10 minutes or something, and just we gotta have a Final Fantasy reference in our chat, so. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to just how well written Final Fantasy Tactics is, and you do unlock Cloud, so there's our 7 little connections. So
Woo!
Oh yeah.
get that out of the way.
You covered the reference for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
did it last week too for you, so don't worry.
Yeah, appreciated.
I do like, because that's the exact thing I was trying to say with that, was that like this game doesn't waffle in a way that like it delivers all the reiteration very well through just like random middle-aged people like trying to ask them questions like, hey, you know anything about like a motorcycle? What?
Mhm.
There
Yeah,
are
okay,
specific
fine.
sections. Like I have a specific note about when you're on a car ride with one of your police detective friends. His name is Kami. He's like asking you things, but like he doesn't really. He kind of like sidetracks and starts talking about like your life and stuff. But I felt like it kind of went on for a while, but in hindsight, like I'm going against my notes and being like, oh yeah, that actually is just like who this character would be. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
So
it does all build the characters. Like, I mean, there's whole entire routes in Last Defense Academy that go on for like 10 hours where you're just like, what did I get from this? Yeah, him, Kamihara, he's just your goofball. He's a lovable guy.
yeah,
He's just
Kamihara's
poking.
flirting
He's
with people.
pokey.
He's straight up just like, what is it, Yaoi, the boy love,
Yeah.
or is it Yuri? One of
No,
those.
it's Yao, you're right.
Yeah,
Okay, it's Yaoi. Anyway, he's clearly Yaoi bait. He's constantly like flirting with you whenever you examine him. Doki doki.
yeah.
Like he's always like, huh? What are you looking at, boy detective? And like
Not my fave being
uh,
problematic. Oh wait, I'm 19 years old. Never mind, it's fine.
they do it in a very wholesome way, wholesome Nintendo way, where like the closest they infer is like, oh, they smiled at me. That makes me go doki doki.
And you
That's
also
it.
like get to try and butter him up to get clues out of him. Just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
takes
yeah,
it as
yeah.
flirting. It's
And you're
very
like, oh,
funny.
your hair looks good, or whatever it was you said to him.
So let's get to the baseline of like how this a story. It's always weird
Mhm.
calling a visual novel, or again, this is if we're being specific, this is technically an adventure game in Japan's world of like visual novel genre and how the umbrella spans out. This is an adventure game, but we will call it a visual novel how you would call an RPG, like an action RPG would be a JRPG, or it's a big umbrella. But this does deviate from the typical visual novel where there's just straight up text. Like that's a pure visual novel where, like
You have actual
999.
inputs. Again, like you
Yeah.
have a menu of actual
Mhm.
command. It's a command list. You get
Yeah.
to like actually like pick commands. It's cool.
Yeah, and that's the original. And then visual novels did branch out of that eventually. But like, even if you want to be a stickler, you could say like 999 and Phoenix Wright and Danganronpa aren't quite visual novels. I would never say they aren't, but there is that line where you could watch. There's an hour-long video that gets into the like history of visual novels and adventure games and how they came to
So,
be and how they branched
so you
out.
kind of split them into like if something can sit down and you can just read it without like player input deviating the course of the action, then
Maybe
that's
the
like a
most
pure visual novel.
Yeah, the most
Like,
is making a choice, like a random choice that would
uh-huh.
branch your route. Like,
Like yes or no.
yeah, that's really it. No puzzle solving, no like, let me get the keys and go check this room with my cursor. It's just, I'm reading. I like Tales of Toyotoki for a
That's
good
it.
example. Yeah. Or like Raging Loop. Like these are pure, like Archetype Arcadia. Like these are pure, just visual novels. This,
Yeah, Danganronpa's like a escape room parts in it, and
yeah,
like stuff
Killing
like that.
Game. Yeah, and it's weird because
Yeah.
our idea of an adventure game isn't what Japan's early ideas of an adventure game was. So it's weird when we hear adventure game, we're like, what? It's not like Indiana Jones. It's not like a Zelda game. What are you talking
It's
about?
more like spanning a bunch of characters, a bunch of settings, and like it's an adventure, as in your character goes on an adventure to all these
Yeah.
places. Kind
And
of.
that's why I put visual adventure in front, just to make it a bit easier. But we will say visual novel. I just wanted to get that out of the way because
Uh,
it's such an umbrella.
I wanna throw some tinder onto the search action discourse and say that Sakamoto wants to call it interactive drama as the genre.
That's a
So
good
here's another
callback.
fucking genre name to deal with.
It's true.
I'm gonna call it search action.
I mean, again, it wouldn't be wrong because it makes more sense than the name adventure. Because like adventure, you picture a character and you're like going through tombs and caves and fighting skellies. But here in Japan, we call an adventure game a text-based,
I like
story.
my
Yeah, you
interactive
think
drama
like
as
Elder
choose your own
Scrolls.
action.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, just get that out. I don't, I wanted to flex my, whatever knowledge of visual novel stuff, but yeah, let's start at the baseline though. Let's start how this game opens up. You have
Yeah,
you have a murder,
go ahead.
and there's this bag, which this game entire crutches. We have an urban legend type of vibe, and it's the young student, right? It like straight up opens up with like this murder from what was that student's name? It's ooh,
Uh,
just here I was flexing my
just a
visual
second.
novel lore, and the first victim.
Aisuke Sasaki.
There we go. I was looking at that name too. That's funny. But yeah, he was our
He was
protagonist.
15 years old.
There you go. Found in the woods, I believe.
In a
Mhm.
pumping station in the woods.
There you go. And
Mine is
Yeah, with a strangulation line around his neck, like visibly showing you right off the bat, like we're not censoring this. Here's this red, bloody, like I mean, there's a bag on his head and it's smiling, it's goofy, but like
Mhm.
you see the actual like strangulation marks on his neck. It's like, whoa, a Nintendo game? Really?
Yeah, this game, the Sakamoto doesn't like doing a lot of blood, and I think that's to this game's credit to make it feel even more
Uh,
like eerie and
yeah,
just
it doesn't need it.
like dramatic. Like it doesn't need all blood and gore. It's just
It
there's
already
something
has
very
the weight of
unnerving.
like the weight of the crimes is there and like the weight of the deaths and like people are impacted and like
and the trauma that
you know
each
that something's
character
messed up.
has. Yeah, like it's all
Hmm.
there. Like it's not always blood and gruesome that really gets you. It's that slow burning realization that like your brother's been missing forever, or you're this unrequited love, or there's all this weird little trauma that peppers itself
Seeing
in.
how it influences these characters' decisions.
Yeah, and then you see the kids later on pick up like the.
Mm.
So this is basically an urban legend story. We have a lot of
Mm.
those in our culture as well, and Japan. I can't speak for them 100%, but I feel like urban legend horror or like type stuff like that is probably just a worldwide thing that kind of just like
I mean,
permeates
rumors get
itself.
started. Like people just talk, things spread, and it's like, did you hear? Did you know? And then like, who
The
knows if
fire
some
grows.
shitty kids permeate it and like they play it up, and then like they tell an adult, and then the adult takes it serious, and then game's a telephone, always morphing.
Yeah, and it morphs all around, and you see that in this story in the way it weaves itself. The way it tells, because it goes in so many different directions, some more obvious than others, but yeah, we got we get our urban legend story right off the bat. It settles you down into what you're going to be doing, what kind of like world you're in, and your task as the protagonist is to basically figure out what's going on. And that's kind of just like,
There's any connection to this murder to one that happened 18 years ago involving a similar mask. There were cases of 3 murders 18 years ago where the victims all had these paper bags on their head, but nobody knew about it outside of the police station because they covered it up for some reason. and you're like, whoa, I'm gonna try to see if there's some link here, and then you start your whodunit game. You really
Yeah.
start to dig your toes into this big old adventure of being accusationary of every single character you meet, being like, is there something that's going to give you away? Are you going to be the one? Is it you?
Yeah, and
What are
then
you hiding? What are you hiding? What are you hiding?
and it seems like everyone's got something to
Take off that
hide.
mask.
There is a lot of hiding in this game that people actually have. It, but yeah, we have Tachibana. She's your assistant. You know, you get paired up with her like right off the bat. You're put on this case. You meet all these seasoned police officers, these detectives, and as you get to meet all of them, you kind of just start unraveling this mystery between everyone, and it's pretty cool. Like Junko Kuze, she's the police detective working on the case. She's got some trauma. You know, it's weird. I don't know how much spoiler we want to get into because
I mean,
she.
we're doing a book club talk. Let's just dig into it.
Yeah,
If
for
you're
sure.
listening, you know enough about this to care about it.
Yeah, you probably just want to hear people talk about Emio or visual novels, visual adventure. But yeah, you got Junko Kuze. She has a missing brother that you find out, and she's kind of like she seems like the hard ass, serious kind of, you know, woman police detective, and the
And her
officer.
brother has been missing for 18 years. Dun dun
Mm-hmm.
dun.
Bum bum boom.
What could
Then
it
you
mean?
then you have Kamihara, who's he's your. We've talked a little bit about him already, but he's a lighthearted guy. He's always getting scolded by like his elders
Partner.
or anyone. Really, I feel like everyone in the
Yeah, that's true.
like anyone who's anyone is kind of just like, who is this guy? Like even the protagonist has like inner thoughts a lot when he's working with him. Just like, is this guy serious? Is this guy really
He's like a
saying
young
this?
playboy type
Mhm.
guy, and he's always like goofing around. He's like, "Hey, look at me, what
He's a mid-20s
guy?"
guy, like really just starting his career and like finding out who he is and leaving his boyhood dreams behind,
Yeah,
but still
pretty
keeping
much.
some of the goofiness of
And he's
his.
still a flirt. He's still
Yeah.
looking at all the ladies
Who's why don't you make
and
tea
even
for
some of
me?
the boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's some of the guys. You know, you have Kamada, Kamiharu Kamada, which Itiahish. Oh no, Fukuyama's the one you have strong opinions on.
We'll get to him.
Yeah, Kamada is his head looks like a paper bag. So at the start, I was heavily weary of this guy. I was like, you know what? Your head's a little too perfectly shaped. You might be this paper bag
Yeah.
guy. People might have just like taken your face shape and said it was a paper bag. Who knows where their story is going?
You
But
That's
remind
actually
he ended up
very
being a pretty cool
reasonable,
dude.
you're not wrong. Yeah, it is reasonable. But
especially like partway through the story. Like you go and see him after he's like missing for a night, and he's like just like grunting in his chair while you're talking to him and
Yeah,
grilling
he's
him on
making like
stuff.
all these weird noises, and it's like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? It's like, is he like suspicious or is he just like old? What's wrong with
Turns
him?
out he's just old.
And when he worked on the case 18 years ago, and for some reason the police force hid the fact that all the murders involved these paper bags.
Mhm.
And we'll get to that. But at the time, I was like, why the hell would you hide that? Like, this is either the biggest red herring or you're very suspicious.
Yeah, it leads to a lot of suspicion. Uh, Mihara or Kamada, he reminded me of like the older lead detective in Chaos Child.
Mm.
Not that there's any context for that, but he there's like this trope in like visual novel stories where there's just like this kind of like shady older detective who's kind of like looks like he's looking out for you, but then you start like thinking like, but it like ends up like, yeah, no, he really like is actually looking out for you, and I thought that was a
Like
little like, no,
if
go
you
on.
met Columbo and you like didn't know that he was just like got protagonist powers and he was just a cool dude, you'd be like, wait, is he grilling me? Is he
Yeah,
my friend?
pretty much, yeah. It's hard to tell because they do have a lot of perspective, just for being around so long. So you kind of like they're hardened in a way. So you're kind of just like, is he on my side? Is he not? It's kind of hard to
Yeah, you don't
tell.
know his history. It's like, hey, let's talk to him some more. And then he just starts making weird sounds at you, and like he's like, oh, sorry, I slipped a disc in my back. And so it's like, aha, you
Mm.
were just old.
Yeah. Like old people.
Damn, he was old all along. Can't fucking believe it.
Oh, God,
Get him out of
age,
here.
old people. But yeah, the story starts out basically with that starting point where you're just thrust into this urban legend, and then it kind of weaves its way. Right after that, you start, I believe, like going to the school to kind of talk.
You talk to like the classmates of the kid who was murdered, and like you see how shaken up they are, and like how their teacher is kind of like protecting them. One of the students, Megumi, ended up not going to school because she had somehow learned about the murder like the day before it was announced to the school. But then like everyone was affected by it, and you'd see it firsthand when you're interviewing these poor kids.
Yeah, and we had something similar like that in school when I was growing up. There were, for some reason, and they were all on my bus. We had three suicides in like
Oh
ninth
shit.
grade. They all just like it was like one after another, and they were all on my bus. And I saw firsthand how this like affected the kids. There were literally people like running through the hall screaming, like just because they were just losing it. That kids don't know how to really handle death. They don't know how to handle
Yeah,
like
it's a weird thing to
tragedy.
process.
They had
Wait, how old
grief.
did you say you were when this
We
happened?
were in eighth grade. Tales of Symphonia just came out,
Okay.
so it was 2003.
That's the marker right there.
Yeah, that's how I
My goat.
relate my life to everything. Just video game releases. Uh,
AD Tales of Symphonia.
but yeah, they had grief counselors. They had like there was like police officers or detectives, kind of just like asking like asking around, not like harassing kids, but like just trying to be like, was there any foul play? Like, did you have any signs? Is anyone else going to do this? Are you in like a suicide cult right now? Like, what's going on? Why did like
Yeah, for
three
three of
people
them, it's like
and then one kid overdosed? So there technically was like four, like right in like boom, like so. Yeah, it left its mark. It affected me, and honestly, like this part of the story kind of brought me back to that to a degree where you were just kind of like, damn, there's just this death in my class, and like you just listen to
you
all these
really need to
kids.
feel it like close to you to really know what the impact will be. Like it's just not comprehensible until you're in it, you
It
know?
was
And
so bizarre. Like I can't even really articulate how weird the air was in the school. And like I said, they had grief count. Like kids were just walking up and getting out of class and just like talking to these grief counselors in the auditorium, and it was just like this thing for a little bit. Yeah, it sucked. They were all on my bus, so I kind of like was familiar with them, and they were all good kids. It's just a shame. I don't know. I don't know what happens to the brain when it gets to that point, but like obviously there's a sickness, so it's a shame. But yeah,
that
they
solved them though. Peace up to you.
yeah, right. But yeah, they start investigating at the school and making a little. They make what was the first big break in this case? Do we remember like when you start
Jeez.
really? Was it the motorcycle where like you start someone? Well, you talked
The
to
first
Megumi.
clue that you find. So I think it might have been the motorcycle tracks that you find at. You go back to the crime scene and you see these motorcycle tracks, and then you have to find out who actually. You're like, huh, this might be important later. And then you talk to the cab driver, and he's like, yeah, I saw someone driving a motorcycle, and that was in like chapter 2 or something. It was
Yeah,
pretty
just
early.
about.
You talk to
Yeah,
the cab driver.
That's interesting. I did not see the motorcycle tracks when I was there. The cab driver had to say that he saw it like during the crime, like the
He
night the
was
crime
like, oh
happened.
no, he didn't see the tracks. He saw the actual motorcycle because he was like, yeah, I see a lot of motorcyclists stop their bikes and get off to you know what.
yeah.
It's just the way of the road.
And then it
Gotta,
kind
gotta
of
empty your hug.
empty that hog out. But yeah, it starts leading it down. I really want to ask real quick though. So the game gives you cell phones, primitive, early, early cell phones. This game takes
Like
place
Nokia, are they even flip phones? They are flip phones.
old school flip, like not in a conventional flip phone
Yeah,
sense.
these
Just
are like clamshell.
yeah, this is just to
Big
protect the
ass.
numbers, kind of
Any
like
other month, I would know like what this exact model is based off of, but I wasn't able to get time to research it this time. I apologize.
all good.
Mhm.
We'll be able to live, but I
I know.
appreciate the sentiments. But yeah, did you guys have did you not charge your cell phone and get that like one little silly scene where because if you let your cell
It's
phone die, you kind of can get like stranded in a weird little place, and I
But
thought it was
one
kind
thing I wanted to actually ask about with the cell phone, that's one of my big points of like your choices actually mattering. The more calls you make, the more your battery will drain, right?
of yep. And you're supposed to charge it, I
Okay, so
believe, in the detective office
yeah, when you
after.
when you go back to the station,
Hmm.
I didn't know. I was like weary in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna invent this mechanic, even if it's not there. I'm gonna act like it's there because
yeah,
that's just like narratively appropriate.
I didn't know that was something I controlled. Right? I thought the protagonist just forgot to charge the phone because he was the protagonist, and I didn't know it was something I could change. That's actually very interesting.
That's
There
pretty
was one
funny.
specific part where I thought that like you couldn't charge your phone, and it was like, oh, it's out of batteries, and I thought it was kind of scripted, so I wasn't sure. But I was kind of cautious of calling the office, leaving silly voicemails after I did it a few times. I was like, I don't want to run out of battery here.
I will say,
Because they're go on.
as you say, I will say there are a bunch of extra numbers you can call if you are aware of like the Japanese phone system, and it's very
Hmm.
interesting.
There was one message in this game where it told you the number of like the cab service. I was like, I wonder what would happen if you call it back, but I forgot what it was and I didn't screenshot it, so it's just out of luck.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a nice little touch to add. At the first playthrough, I didn't really find an issue with the battery or anything, but the second time I knew that there was something because just reading whatever from beating it the
Did it
first
ever
time.
cause you issues? Because the first time when you're like prompted to really use it is when you're like thinking about calling a cab. You're stranded at this bus
That's
stop. The
that's
bus
when
isn't coming
it
for a while.
that's when it affects you in a
Okay, because
meaningful
I
way.
decided not to call that cab. I
That
was like, you know what? I'll wait around.
yeah. Yeah, you could. I guess you could do either or, but I thought it was fun to just kind of like wait around because you were stranded, and I was like, "That's a cute little like, just a little taste of your
The way
choice."
it makes you play and like choose the commands of being stranded and like portraying your character as bored, like looking around and like thinking of random. You gotta like select think a few times, like maybe look
Yeah,
at
Yeah, it
something
was
over in
really
the
fun.
distance.
yeah.
He starts thinking of like mundane things. It's really fun.
And you get so excited when Detective Kuze and Kamihara show up, and Kuze
Mm.
sees you like from the car after one call and starts another call to call the cab for you.
Yeah, you find out
And
later that she's
Kamihara's
actually
like,
calling the cab for you.
Yeah.
She's
"Ah,
like,
we
you know
can't
what,
take you
this
with us,
this
man.
loser's gonna be
Goodbye.
stuck here.
You're stuck here, man. Good luck." And then
Yeah,
they
You
bail.
ain't riding with us, but you got to go home.
it was a very good little touch. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up just because I thought it was kind of cute. It was something I missed the first time, and I was like, oh, that's cute. That's
And you
nice.
don't really know Kuze well at this point. She's kind of like cold and brash every time you talk to her and meet her. Like she's obviously worked up. She's very serious about her job. So you don't know if like she's in the car talking to like some serious business thing and like, ooh, what's she up to now? Or but like really, she was trying to help you out and called you a cab.
Yeah, softy deep down, but she's got that stern look in her face where, and especially with Kamihara
She's got a
always
mission.
pressing her buttons, you're kind of like, ooh, Lavita, not
Yeah,
get
when
on
you
her
get
bad side.
Kamihara as a partner, man, like I don't blame her one bit. Old Lucina hitting him with the F smashes.
Freaking a shield.
She really, I gotta just mention, she looks just like Lucina. She got the blue hair and like the same kind of face.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. But yeah, there's heavy foreshadowing too with her, like at the end of chapter one, where there during the review session, you kind of like flat out be like, "There's something really off about her." but you can't quite put your finger on it.
You don't know the angle to pin it on her, and like you don't want to like jump to conclusions because you just don't have enough yet. It could be so many different things. Like, is she hiding something? Is she really guilty? Is she covering up? Is someone covering up for her? This, that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then as we move into further chapters, we do start untangling this kind of like cord, because you start seeing like cracks in everyone's armor where you're kind of just like, oh wait, what's going on here? And then like the whole Megumi with feature thing, where it's kind of just like, I I can't remember exactly, but that led into like uh that breakthrough. I'm trying to remember exactly like
Uh,
how
so it was
that.
like you're talking to the teacher, and after you talk to like these two other girls from another class who like vaguely knew ISK and everyone, you're like, oh, where is like Megumi Morimoto at? And he like immediately becomes shaken up. He's like, she's sick, yes. And you're like, huh, that's a weird way to react to someone who's normally really composed. Huh, what's your deal? And then he runs off.
L- Let's just talk about how a teacher having this close of a nervous relationship with his with one of his students, it kind of sets off some flags in your head,
Yeah,
whether
I
you
was
like to
very
or not.
suspect of this at first, and I'm very grateful this game did not go in a gross direction with this.
Yeah, it handled.
Anytime you mention this girl, he starts getting like shaky and fidgety. Your character comments on it, so like there's clearly something there. He knows where she is. Like she teaches, shows all these secrets to him. They have a relationship that'll we'll get into when it comes time in the story.
Yeah, I think as far as like big breakthroughs go, I think that was like the point where I was like, oh, wait, what kind of story is this gonna be? Did the teacher kill Ice
Yeah,
King? You know?
at one point you bring Megumi into the station to question her, and Fukuyama's standing there, and I'm like, well, fuck, two birds with one stone. Just lock them up, boys.
Well,
You got him
We
here in
got
the
'em.
sure is.
station.
I love that scene. They're like, oh, she's really nervous, and it's like two cops, her teacher, her mom, and these two
The
random
guy's like
kids
slamming his
standing
hands
there.
down in the desk.
The
It's
poor
like, wow, why is
girl.
she so nervous? Why won't she open up to us? It's like, there's like fucking 5 strangers in here, man. What do you think's happening?
Hey, Bart, I got a new chainsaw.
Parsh, I got my new chainsaw. How do you ask?
Sleep well. But yeah, she just lost a friend. Like there's so much kind of just like going on that they can't really get much from them, but it really does kind of everything leads into itself really well.
Yeah. This is
They
like a small knit town where like everyone kind of, in one way or another, has a degree of separation from another, and like they kind of know what's going on with each other. So you can follow that lead around with your little nose, your little boy detective nose.
But yeah, where were we in this as far as the story? We don't have to go beat by beat by beat.
Yeah, we don't have to cover everything.
So they're in a police station bit. She reveals like she confessed her love to the teacher, and the teacher's like, "You're not in love with me. You're just in love with love," which is normal for kids at the time.
Mhm.
And she's like, "What does that
Again,
mean?" And then she like storms off, and then like
handled real
that's
well.
why she's yeah, she doesn't handle it very well, and blows up on Ice Key on her way out.
The thing is, the way they write this character, Fukuyama, after the fact, they still write him in like a skeevy, underhanded way of like, maybe he is. Now he goofy about it. And like, oh, Megami, you're so pretty. And he starts hitting on like a Yumi when he takes her out to lunch.
I was
It's
just
like,
gonna
man,
say.
that you're preying on every female
I
around,
mean,
and like all
we make
these.
it sound weird. It's like only like 3 years older than her, but it's definitely still a weird gap
It's
in
still
stuff.
the
I'm not gonna.
position
It's
of being
problematic. Yeah, I'm not gonna
authority,
touch
and
on this.
yeah, and like he's presented as like being older. Like he's
Yeah, no,
in.
he is.
He's not
He's
as
fucking
old as
six foot
like
five or
Hamada,
something.
but
He's
yeah,
23, yeah, which is in anime he is elderly, but
he's ancient.
Yeah, he's
yeah, right. In
on the
general,
cusp.
it's not too bad. But I did enjoy his character to a degree. Like I think he handled everything with great. Like it really does set him up to be a piece of garbage.
There was
over
a
half
Yeah.
the
chapter
I
where
story.
was even much for it.
your character was just eating dinner with him, and I was skipping through that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like I could not skip fast enough. I was like, I don't want to hear a thing this little You
I
know
wasn't
what has to say.
I wasn't that extreme, but like I like the part where he's like, "Hey Yumi, I don't believe in ghost stories. I don't know shit about the occult. I know about aliens though." And I'm like, "All right, good talk, man. Thanks. That's gonna help me a ton here."
Call Benji. We need him.
Benji helps.
But yeah,
Benji, I know a guy.
I kind of I thought he was like he was kind and protective, almost to a fault, and I think that was kind of just like I think his arc as like kind of like the side character because you find his relationship with Ayumi like later on, I guess, ish, where they kind of just have like a past history, and you're kind of just like, oh, okay,
They
like,
took like Naginata class together or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it. He was her upperclassman.
Yeah,
Yeah, call me your senpai. Don't forget,
Yeah.
call me senpai. Don't,
Well, he didn't do
hey,
that. He was just like, "I'm gonna
you
pay for
gotta
this."
defer to
No,
me.
I want to pay for it. No, I'm your senpai. I pay for it.
yeah,
God, this guy, man. I swear, he was setting up every single flag in my head.
He was.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just too chivalrous.
More flags than a minesweeper field, but
And it's like the
he
entire
did
point of his
avoid.
character is like a gotcha. Like, oh, I bet you guys all thought he was gonna be you know what. And then like he keeps acting like it anyway. It's like, what are you doing?
I guess he's got that a slight cocky kind of vibe to him because you know, like he is that like really
But then he's kind of like a himbo too. It's like revealed that it's like
exactly.
he's just
So-
running around because he wants to save his students. But it's like
So I guess
I can't with this guy.
I guess the direction to take the plot from here is that Megumi believes a lot in the occult. Heard about this story where if you're killed by the Smiling Man, you don't go to heaven unless someone who is friends with you recites a spell at where you died at. So she ran there late at night in a complete panic and saw the Smiling Man there and completely forgot about the spell, and she's breaking down sobbing about it. And that's when you start going into, oh, this is like some weird urban legend shit. Okay.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah,
layering.
and
more about
she
this.
survived the whole point is she survives the encounter with the Smiling Man too because who shows up? Wasn't it Kuze that shows up?
Kamihara.
Kamihara that shows up. That's right.
Which by the lore of the Smiling Man, if you're crying, that's not good. You
Yes.
can't be
Don't
crying
cry.
around the Smiling Man.
Hey Brian, why are you crying?
You be dying. But yeah, she kind of dodged a few bullets there in terms of like what the urban legend was kind of portrayed. But I do love that layering where it's like how urban legends grow. Like it's one thing to have like this menacing dark figure. It's another to be like, yeah, but if he kills you, you don't go to heaven, and it's like Bloody Mary where it's like you have to say it 5 times, but the lights need to be off. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that.
You can see the layers. Like the kids believe in like the occult and like the legends and stuff, but then the Middle Ages are like, I don't follow any of that like tall tale shit. Get away from me. And the old
Right.
people are like, oh yeah, I remember that from a murder case 80,000 years ago.
Like it's just a murder case, guys. Don't think too hard. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there's nothing special about it. There was a guy who was kind of cuckoo.
But yeah, it starts to really
Kinda cuckoo.
unfold at a certain point where you kind of just like, you meet the family mechanics. Somehow we're already at 50 minutes, so I don't want to go too crazy with like a
I
3-hour
Sorry.
log Emio. But no, go ahead,
Yeah,
Zero.
Yeah,
I think
let's cut
there's
to
one last early point before we skip ahead to the mechanics, and that's there's a show about the occult on that talks about the Smiling
I
Man. This
love
time
that.
Megumi finds out Ice-Key's actual death cause. But the other thing about this is like you also get a cut of seeing the like actual Smiling Man watching the show in some mysterious like tool shed or some shit. And then later on, you see some guy standing outside of Megumi's house while you're playing as Ayumi, wearing like the same exact outfit, and it's just the fucking teacher again, trying to not be a weirdo and failing horribly at it. Another fucking series of red flags. Very fucking good bit. Love it.
his
Anyway, back
defense
to the
continues to
mechanic.
falter.
He's so
Maybe he
bad at
Case
really
this.
against
was.
this guy is adding up.
Maybe
He's
we'll
so
get a
bad at this.
sequel where he actually is. But another thing I wanted to say too was like the world building is cool because eventually like you start seeing kids wearing the masks. Like people start walking around. Like it starts becoming this
Yeah, the
like
legend spreads.
thing. Like it takes a life of its own, and people start like,
Yeah, there was like a whole apartment where like a murder took place, and like the blood was never washed out of the apartment, and it's been quarantined by police for 18 years. So the kids were like, "Oh, we can't go in there. We gotta tell stories about it instead." Like we've all had stories about like that. Like when I grew up, there were houses that just look scary, and we're like, "Oh, that's the Addams Family house. That's where they took kids to the basement and blah 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 blah." You know,
there was an abandoned house down the like
they
I
perform
lived
science experiments on them.
like we had kind of something like that when I lived in Long Island. There was just, a nice little street. There was a school at the end of it. The houses are nice. Everyone lives in them. But there was this one house down the road across from my friend Chris. And we would always just like stare. We'd walk up to the front of the house and be like, do you want to try and get in? And everyone would be like, it smells like blood in there. And like, no one knows what blood smells like when you're a kid. It's like watching
It
Lion
smells like
King.
vampires. Watch out.
Right? But like it was just this it became this thing on the street where people started like saying rumors about this or rumors about that. It became an object of like affection where we were just kind of like, whoa, like what is this? It consumed us for that one summer. Like I think my brother and his friends eventually did go in and they found like old newspapers. That was the scariest thing.
Like
But
golden
like
couches.
yeah, but it does show how things can take a life of its own, which is just always cool. Again, I think the writing and layering and texturing of this story was just done so well. Like I can't stress enough
It,
how much it relates to like stuff I've experienced to a slight degree.
it really is gripping. I really got hooked once like they started talking about like, oh no, actually the story originated like 80 years ago
Hmm.
in a whole different like town.
Yeah,
And
and
but
it,
like all I know about is like one guy saying his dad talked about it while he was drunk at a bar.
yeah, and it's even cool too how like they try and cover bases because like jumping around a bit, like they do start doing testing on like the paper bag, and they're like, this isn't like this is not an old bag. Like the material they do like that scientific testing
Yeah,
material
different
or whatever.
companies make
Other way
bags
around.
differently.
No,
Like
other way, yeah,
it is one of the old bag. Like it's
it is.
similar to the
Yeah,
old
it was
bag.
the original paper bag.
That's
The
right.
two
That's right.
murders that happened after were a different bag.
Exactly. That's what I was trying
But
to
this one
say.
appeared after
Yeah,
18
yeah.
years.
Yeah, which I thought was a nice touch because it was just an angle I didn't think about or consider, and it kind of just like threw that in there, and I was like, oh, where do we go from here? Like,
There's lots of little cookie crumb trails in here. It's like, oh, maybe I can follow this a little bit. But there's just enough in here to pull you along and like connect every character. And like, there's a decent spread of a cast in here. It feels like a lively little town. It's got a nice spread.
yeah. So, I guess we could start talking about like Junko and her, her lost
Yeah,
brother, and
let's talk about the actual meat and potatoes. Junko and her brother and their connection to the Smiling Man.
yeah. Would you like to lead with that, ATI? Because I feel like I'm going to be jumping all over the place with that one.
Um, Feel free to jump in at any time you'd like.
Absolutely.
Basically, the whole thing is that Junko's brother went missing 18 years ago, as previously said. Um, it is unknown whether he had any involvement with the Smiling Man. Maybe he is the Smiling Man.
They really
Uh,
try and push like him kind of being the smiling man for like a good
it almost feels
portion.
too obvious.
It does, but at the same time, it feels like kind of like we just watched Summer of '84, where it was like the Mackie. Like I won't spoil that movie because you're not here for that, but it almost felt like that twist was too obvious, but that wasn't like the point of the movie, and it kind of like
Yeah.
it tells itself. It tells on itself basically like early on, and the whole time you're expecting like maybe a twist, but then watch it for yourself. But I thought they were going to do something similar like they did with that, but no, they kind of definitely just go in a totally different direction than you would think, which was pretty well done. Because you have Minoru, I believe I'm pronouncing it somewhat correctly. And
Minaru.
Minoru
Minoru.
Suzuki, he is our smiling man, and his history is kind of like they do go deep into it, but like
God,
for
there is a lot
yeah,
that they
Yeah.
dump on you.
that's the whole thing. Like 'cause they really do make it seem like it's Junko's brother who went missing, but then you find Minoru and they start connecting the dots and connecting the dots, and before you,
Minoru was his apartment whose like the urban legends are based on, like the bloody apartment that got closed off. He disappeared that day there were the murders 18 years ago. Like, oh, there's blood in your apartment and everything. 18 years. Maybe you're connected. Maybe it's something else. You don't know if it's like trying to tell you directly. It's like, hey, this happened to happen that time too. Let's see how this character plays in.
and similar to
It's very
Junko, like he's got a sibling that was killed or absent from his life, kind of like Junko. I felt like there was like somewhat like of parallels, like the way it was layered. It kind of was like a deck shuffling into itself. Like each side was kind of just going into the middle, like until it kind of like hits a head, kind of like near the end. Once you kind of figure everything out and you find yourself in that like abandoned like mountain town village or whatever, and it kind of just gets crazy at that point. As Minoru, as far as he goes, I don't know. Like, do we go deep into the whole like?
I mean, people can like wiki dive on it, but at the same time, so Minaru I wasn't sure what to think of him for a while. You have his sketch that you end up showing to everyone that you meet in the game. You're like, hey, you know this guy, you know this guy. He's clearly not smiling, but do you know him? Do you have any connection to Smiling Man? Everyone's like, I don't know, I've never seen this guy. So like, you kind of don't think about him for most of the game, and then it turns out to be the most important character in the game. Um, he Okay, so his connection to Kuze's brother. Run me down the skinny on that again, real quick. Like, what is? There's a lot of details to remember here.
Yeah.
How does Kuze's brother connect to the Smiling Man?
So I believe Minoru, Junko's brother gets amnesia, which for some reason is eluding uh it was like their encounter with him, like
Oh yeah. He saves his sister because his
yes,
sister, the Smiling Man starts to come for her because she's crying. So he tackles her. Smiling Man knocks him on the head and abducts him. He loses his memory. He lives with this guy for like 18 years in the
yeah,
woods. He doesn't know who he is, so he's missing. Kuze's looking for him the entire time. Anyways, I meant to get back to this like 15 minutes ago, but here we go. That's who this guy is. Yeah, so Makoto is out there living with Minoru. Minoru's this fucked up like Joker man who's cut his. You don't know it yet, but he cut
yeah,
his mouth into be like permanent Joker mode.
yeah. It gets pretty damn gruesome, like once you find out what he did, because he Minoru misses his sister, Emiko, and I believe she drowned, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she
And
drowned.
yeah,
And then he used to wear a smiling paper bag mask on his head to make his sister smile.
you
And
do a little dance.
so when she died, yeah, he did this silly little dance with his arms up in the air and weaves back and forth. He put the paper bag on her casket after she died at her funeral. And then after that, he ran away and lived with these mechanics, if I remember correctly.
Yep, car. That's why he liked it, because it translated out to car. But
Some
yeah,
wordplay in kanji where
absolutely.
the name of the automobile shop said car 3 times, and this guy was nonverbal. He just smiled all the time. He worked for these old mechanics for like I don't know some years.
Great mechanic, apparently. Picked it up.
And eventually he quit because he said, "I want to give a ride to my little sister in my new car." And
because he does meet a love interest. Well, I don't know if it's a love interest because he sees her as his sister, but like he starts getting affection for her in a sense where whether it's protector, whether it's whatever, And
He
his
just likes
whole
putting on the paper bag mask and dancing for her.
yeah, and then he finds that she has a drunk father. One random night, he notices a mark on her face, and he's just like, "No, you ain't touching my delicate little flower."
Yeah,
And
he sees a black eye on her, and he's like, "What happened to you?" And she's like, "Oh, it's nothing." He's like, "Oh, hell no."
he's like, "No, I
He
know."
goes full Itchy the Killer mode. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen or read Itchy the
Mhm.
Killer. It's a lot to stomach. I don't recommend it to anyone listening
You gotta
unless
be in
you're
the right
really
mind
into.
frame. You gotta be
Yeah,
really in the right mind
but
frame.
basically the same thing. Like, it just sets him off because he sees someone mistreat the person of his interest, and then he goes Joker mode and kills this guy. And then she's like,
Strangles
"What are you
him.
doing? You can't do that." And then he ends up strangling her
Yeah,
too.
because
So
she's not Emiko. She's like, I'm not like, and that
Yeah, I'm not
snaps.
Emiko.
it sets him off.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into this crazy trail of like him deforming his face and becoming this creature or monster of a man. And
He first tries drawing a smile on his face, and he's like, "It's not good enough. I look like Heath Ledger. It's not enough. I got a full method act. I gotta go for it." And he goes full Joker mode. He cuts his mouth with the knife. He fully colors it in. He has this
it was like
fucked up,
metal
what was it,
shears,
Glasgow
like
smile.
Yeah, he cuts his face off with metal
Oh yeah,
shears.
metal
'Cause that's what
shears
he's
that
used
the
to using from the
automobile
auto
shop gave
work.
him.
Yeah,
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And it just goes down a crazy rabbit hole. If you've played the game, you know how insane those last like that 30,
When
40
it reveals
minutes.
his
this is the
face,
epilogue, by the way.
Mhm.
yeah, the epilogue totally goes off the rails. When it reveals his face, you guys remember that episode of Rugrats where Chucky turns around, or no, Tommy turns around and goes, "I'm
I'm
not Tom."
not Tom.
I'm
Yeah.
not Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it feels like when you finally see Minoru's like current age face when he's all cut up and everything.
Yeah, because you don't really see like that until like very, very late, like into the whole thing. You kind of just think, oh, this guy's got like he's incognito because he's a crazy killer.
Yeah,
He's got
like the
sunglasses.
credits
And,
literally roll and like, oh wait, no, the credits roll after you see him, right? That's true. That's right. Never mind. Never mind.
but you don't see the process and like the slow descent, like how he got there. Because again, this story weaves in and out of the past, the present. It takes on like three separate kind of like eras or areas of like certain people's like it starts off with junk like with the deaths, and then you find out that Junko like planted the bag. Like dude, you just find all these crazy things, like it hits you all at
The
once.
eggplant flowers. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the
Yeah,
eggplant flowers.
I
That's
was
so
going to
important
mention
to
that.
Junko and yeah,
Yeah,
her and her brother. Like
he planted the
the flowers
flowers.
are the most important thing.
Was
Yeah, and then
yeah,
he picks
No,
them
yeah,
because he's like,
he
"Oh, I want to
makes
give some flowers to my sister," and she's like, "You
I
fucking
planted them for
baka
you.
ass."
Yeah,
Yeah, she was trying to grow eggplants for him because he loved eggplants, and he
exactly.
wanted to give her flowers because she loved flowers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so she ran away, and that's what caused her to run into the Smiling Man, which caused him to be abducted, et cetera, et cetera. Eggplants are this whole thing. You go to meet their mother at one point in the nursing home. You like,
oh,
abuse this
that
poor old
whole
woman. She loves it
section
though.
too is crazy. Just go
Oh
into
my
the
god, the social anxiety of like, sir, you need to leave, and like,
No, I need to talk to that woman now.
and she becomes fond of you. Like you come back, and they're like, oh, it's okay. Like it's just so well done.
very
Yeah.
realistic depiction of an old person. Like, oh, some random kid wants to talk to me. I've been stuck in this old home for like
Yeah, bet.
20 years. I'm in. Yeah,
Say
I'll
no
talk to
more.
him. It's fine.
I'll tell them everything. Yeah,
First fresh conversation I get to have in fucking decades. Yeah, I'll talk to him. Sure.
but yeah, just in general, this story just evokes a ton of like it goes through so many characters' traumas, so much characters like past. It sets up all these red
Yeah,
herrings.
they all feel real. Lots of red herrings. It's like everyone is realized. They don't feel like just like inserts. It's,
And it's never
and then you get to
immediately. No, go on, go on.
go on, go on, go on.
I was gonna say it's never immediately like it doesn't truly feel like because I know there were some people who read it and they were like, "What? It wasn't like that scary," and it's like, well, it's a detective story,
Yeah,
But
it's just a
what
little unsettling.
the
You do feel
fear?
like it's a little PG during the game for bits, and then you get like this flashes of like, oh, that's upsetting, that's disturbing. Like
I
the topics are clearly disturbing, like the child abductions and murders and stuff. Like that's
Mhm.
terrible.
I
Like, are
think
you not upset by that?
the really jarring one to me, though, maybe it's just like how it was delivered, was like Kuze's going to her home, and then like she just knows someone's following him or her the whole time,
Mhm.
and she like calls Kamihara and goes like, "I just saw the fucking smiling man. He was right outside my door." And like I think
Yeah,
that was the shit got real moment for me.
yeah.
Can we just call out her voice acting during that scene though, because she read it exactly the same as all her other lines, and she's suspicious as shit, or this is
Yeah.
the worst line reading,
No,
or
I
she's
think
just
that's
panicked and playing it
I
straight.
think it's just panicked and just very like in shock.
She didn't change her tone from normal at all, though. I was like, "Am I missing something? Is this
She's a
intentional?"
hardened
That was
soldier.
one
Girl,
part.
she's seen it all. Like she puts the gun to you when you find her, because like,
And she picks herself back up like right after that. She's like, "No, let's go after him. Let's get him."
yeah, she's a tough one. Like she's a tough cookie. She's scheming around the story. Like she's never the direct like
Yeah.
bad person like you would think, but she
You
is.
start
Your
to like
suspicions,
accuse her.
yeah, the suspicions are founded on some things that you do eventually learn.
Yeah, you find her in like this abandoned village where like Minoru is supposed to be like, what are you supposed to be doing here? She's there all alone, and then like you see her confront. You walk in on her, and there's a fucking dead body there. She's like, "Oh yeah, I totally cut it up with a machete." It's like, "Oh, you go, girl. I guess I'm not gonna push you
All right,
about it."
real girl boss shit. Okay.
Yeah, but it turns out her brother ran in and killed the Smiling Man because he was going to strangle Kuze. It's this whole thing, and like you learn the truth in the post game, where it's like, hey, we gave you the little like PG teaser trailer. You want to read the real twisted stuff, the real Joker mode? You want to go full Joker with us? No babies allowed.
that
Put the babies to bed. If you want to agree, sign this waiver right here, and then we'll
Sign
proceed.
waiver.
And it goes from Emio to this whole Minoru mode.
yeah, I thought
You
that
go
was
to the title screen, it's
beautiful.
Minoru mode. It's like, oh, this is the secret VIP area. Okay, and it lets you in. And suddenly, like during the game, you play as both agents of the detective agency, but you don't really hear much about the main guy, the main chicken. What's his name? Do, 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 do,
Utsugi.
do.
The main
Utsugi.
like
Yeah, Utsugi, that is it.
there you go.
Yeah, you don't hear much about him. So during this extra episode, he's just sitting at his desk. He's like, "Hey, while you were out, I was doing real detective work on like the adult stuff. You were doing your 19-year-old whatever, like fresh detective stuff. I found out the good stuff." And like he starts telling you about like the real what actually happened. You
What
see this whole
really
animated
happened?
sequence of the smiling man, like Minoru, actually, like him, the
They think he was
backstory of him,
crazy.
and yeah, and him like donning the mask, and like his sister dying, and it's this whole like half-hour animated
It's
movie. It's like
beautiful. The
I had
animation
no idea what I was
is
in for. It's
stunning.
really good.
Like
It's like Persona animation
it's
almost,
such
I
a
think.
treat like to
Do
do
you,
this 10-hour like novel you're reading and then they're like, here you go. Here's a
Kick
30-minute
back and
video.
relax.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
get
it
your
was so
popcorn
good.
out. This is what you've earned. And it's just like
Do we
it
know
gets
what
into
animation studio did it?
ooh, I did at one point actually. It's eluding my mind because my brain is whoop. But yeah, I wish I could be able to bring that up because I do feel like it was like some prestigious studio. They're like, it was definitely like a thing. Like there was definitely of a production studio that has done other stuff that's all like held really high in high regards. I don't know off the top of my head. I hope I don't know. But
I
yeah,
tried looking for 2 seconds and I give up.
I was
So
trying to
it'll be a mystery
stall.
forever.
I was trying to stall. Hope someone could bring it up. But
I'm
No,
trying. I
I
don't
did what
see
I
it.
could, but
yeah, I
it's
because
fine.
there
We
was
don't
like
fact check here.
no, but it was. definitely on my radar. I think maybe like a year or so ago, I do remember someone bringing it up and being
We'll
like,
edit it in here in post. It was studio.
don't quote
Mm.
don't quote him on that. But
There's no editing here.
only the intro and outro. But yeah, I think it was just a great little like thing to get after you finish the story. It was such a treat, and it gets into like really gory detail. It just really kind of shook
It
me up a little
legit.
bit.
It's like during the main. Didn't this get an M rating? Right?
Oh yeah,
It did,
I think
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
technically the first Nintendo, right? Because I mean, Eternal Darkness was like developed by
Was
Silicon
Bayonetta?
Knights,
Sure.
but those are all developed by like Platinum or Silicon
Oh,
Knights.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah. This is
Geist.
developed by Nintendo.
I don't even know who Geist was. Like, who did Geist? Was that Nintendo straight up?
Uh,
That was N-Space, which is probably a subsidiary of Nintendo. I don't even know who N-Space is.
I have no
Who is it?
idea.
That has
Some
nothing
little
to-
project from Nintendo. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, it's from
Yeah.
Florida. They're in Florida, something like that. But yeah, no,
I
I think
right. Yeah, this is the first M-rated first-party Nintendo published game. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
which is
So like
and they-
during the first like 90% of the game, I'm like, you know what? It's got some moments, but mature. I guess maybe for the
Yeah.
ending, but then it's like goes fully. It really goes bonkers.
I'm
Man, I
watching
can't
a
overstate
straight up
it
horror
enough.
movie. Like
Is it-
I was shocked.
Maybe that's just part of the
Like it
misleading,
shows
like,
him
the suspense.
strangling the girl, and
Maybe it's just all part of the suspense. Maybe that's Sakamoto's big plan. Like, I'm just gonna put this fucked up thing right at the end, so you don't know when the actual real shit's gonna start.
Yeah.
all this time you hear the rumors in the game of like this like horrible event that happened 18 years ago, and then you see it, and it's like, oh, it actually was way more horrible than I thought when you actually see it and just hear about it.
Oh, the credits in Emio say that the animation studio was by Mappa, and Mappa.
That makes very much sense. I think I
Yeah.
said it looks like Persona animation. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure Mappa does
Jujutsu
Persona.
Kaisen, Chainsaw
yeah.
Man, like all these again, it's solid studio. You
Go
got
watch Chainsaw Man, even if you don't like it.
Yuri
It's
on
beautiful.
Ice. Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
That was another one
All
they
those good.
did.
They're all beautiful, man.
Mhm.
That's a great studio. And seeing them on this game, it was like it just kept going to. I expected it for like a minute or two, and then it was like, oh, there's a next scene. There's a fade to black, and there's another animation scene. Oh my god, it's still going.
Yeah, that's so. I can't stress how much of a choice that was, because visual novels, they might have like a CG cutscene. Like Baldur's Sky had some like little CG. Last Defense Academy has like little tiny
15, 20 second.
Yeah, like nothing truly meaningful. But man,
If
this
you get
gives
15 seconds, it's actually beefy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like 10 seconds is like, whoa, that's crazy. But this game was just like, no, this is like part of what we're doing. This is part of our project. This is our vision, and they just like knocked it out of the park.
You get your FF7 ending FMV. One of damn, how long is this? I'm treated to the credits. I get to just sit here and watch this little long movie in FF7. Perfect.
It seems Mappa did some Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition stuff too.
They've done everything, man. They're like
Yeah.
the Troy Baker of animation.
They really
They're
are.
Just, if you see animation, it's probably a Trigger or Mappa.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even the what was it? The advertising campaign when this game dropped, it made some waves on Twitter. Like there was just these mystery kind of like videos popping up. Like the game wasn't even announced yet. I think Nintendo of Europe posted like the first kind of like trailer, and it was just like this like real life like guy with like the mask, and he was just standing and it was just creepy, and people were like, wait, what is this? Like no one knew what the
I
project
love the
was.
kind of like ARG, like
It
Blair
was.
Witchy advertising stuff.
They did
AI
stuff-
Somnium Files did the same with Nirvana
website?
Initiative.
What was it? The
Yeah, in the
website,
first
right?
game too.
Yeah.
Iris
yeah.
had her own YouTube channel and a little VTuber
Yeah.
personality for all these
And
episodes till she
it's-
gets murdered by a polar bear, and it's like, go play our game to find out what happened to her.
Right.
That's right. I
it-
was like, I swear, what happened? No, we'll go about that later. Never mind. I'm asking you about that after the episode.
But yeah, no, it was just really well done from the advertising to the production value to that 30-minute like short that they give you. The music, oh, I was just jamming into some of
Music
that.
was incredible.
I
Yeah, the
loved it.
bass lines in this were out of this world. I
I was
was leaving this game on and jamming.
I was like reading and I'm like stopping and I'm like, let me just browse Discord while listening to this
Yeah.
music because like I was just like,
You know how we mentioned like for VNs you kind of have to lock in and do nothing? For a lot of times I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave this music playing and
Yeah.
I'm going to do something else while this is on.
yeah. Sometimes you need a little break, a little
break.
breather, and
Take the coffee break and think about your notes in your detective game.
and it's genius too because you don't shut the game off. You're just taking a
Yeah.
10-minute break to listen, and then you're like, oh wait, let me get back because I just
You're
just
still
found
in the
out some
office.
crazy stuff. Like I'm at the end of this chapter. Who knows what's gonna happen? So yeah,
You're sitting in your chair in the office, like throwing the paper ball at the can, and
hitting that little basketball hoop that I've never seen anyone actually own except in like movies.
I should get one of those. There's one little bit of sound design I really liked, and that was like your character discovers something jingle.
Yeah.
there's a really good little
I love that.
Zerovii
It's just like a
jingle.
very obvious 8-bit jingle. They're like, well, this is the
Yeah.
signature of our game now. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sakamoto. I actually really appreciate you did that. It really does stand out.
We didn't even talk about how like during the gameplay, you're talking to people, and then there's keywords, and then it's
Yes.
like,
I
I'm
was
gonna
going to
talk to you
mention
about
that
this.
much earlier, but the highlighted kind of were like it really does help you kind of just keep going with the story because the first two Famicom Detective games were a little bit harder, like to kind of figure out what to do. This one, like, you're never really stuck. Like, I never
You
felt
kind of
like
just like cycle through the options. Like you go through every single thing. There was one point where I thought that my game was like legit glitched out though when you were talking to the mechanic or the automobile guys, the old people, and like they're pissed off at you because like you accused Minoru of like possibly being connected to this thing 18 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, why I never? I thought
Get
you had a
out."
good soul," and like they refuse to talk to you. But you have to like look. So I like tried looking at them like 100 times. I tried doing every option, but you have to look at him in the eyes,
Mhm.
specifically pick his eyes and like see that he has a good soul, or like tell him and be like, "Oh, you got a good soul, buddy."
Oh, it
Yeah.
reminds you of a bit where like I looked at Kamihara and he was like, "Detective, like boy detective, where are you looking?" And I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah,
Like I
there's
thought you were
little
just
bits
selected.
like
I didn't know I
that.
had to think about where I selected you at. Jesus.
Stupid sexy
I didn't know if there was
Kamihara.
gonna be like targeted looking because I like tried it earlier, like see if there would be like comments if like you inspect like his crotch or something, or something
Mhm.
in these games, or it's like, oh, what are you looking at that for? But it didn't really. It was just one option when you inspect people. So when you get hit by that, when you have to look them in the eyes, it was a really surprising little mechanic. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
like the Hokkaido serial murder case, like you're in that like uh kind of brothel or whatever, and you can just like if you look at her like boobs or feet or like there's like
Yeah.
6 different things that she's like tee hee hee stop or like hey,
I
hey
mean, look at
you.
Snatcher. If you play Snatcher and you try to examine Meryl's chest, it's like, of course, there's 500 Kojima lines for.
Yeah,
God bless
You
you, Hideo
trained to check
Kojima.
for it.
where's the
I
feet,
do wanna
Kojima?
I do want to add a springboard off of like how all this game like doesn't stick you. There is one point where like you're at a bar with Kamihara and the owner comes out and like you examine a thing on the wall that mentions her real name, and then the game immediately goes, "All right, so what's her name?" And you don't get a chance to look at anything else.
Oh my god, yeah. It makes you
And
text input specific answers. We didn't even mention
Yeah,
that. It's
that was
crazy.
fun
You have
I
to
too.
look
wanted
at
to
her
fit this
name.
in somewhere. So like if you get it wrong, if you look at the OST, there's an entry for game over, but like you're like, when do I game over in this game? It's never like punches me. This is where it shows up at. If you get that name wrong, it gives you a mock game over and then continues onwards. Like, just kidding. Just fucking
That's
with it. Here
funny.
you go.
So funny.
Here's the plot.
I love that.
It was a very good bit. I love that.
I thought that was a silly little bit in the story too, because it's like her plate is right there next to her, and she treated it like it was some secret. Like, how do you know my name? It's like, you said you own this place, and like there's a plaque literally right next to you, as big as your torso. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was a
Test check. I
silly
made
little
sure you're
You're a
the
segment.
really
boy
great detective to figure that one out.
That's the thing. Like a lot of the detective work that you're given is like very light stuff because Utsugi's already like off in the actual town that the Smiling Man
Yeah.
case originated from.
He kind of just like lets you wonder and be like, all right, go play while I figure out the serious stuff.
Yeah, like that's like the whole game is just like, oh, we're just playing, okay, and then like suddenly it gets really serious, and it's like, oh shit, and then the epilogue happens, and then we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just brilliant through and through.
Yeah.
I think that's
Good
a
way
nice,
to handle generations.
yeah, and even just taking a spin on the genre itself with that epilogue, like I think everything was really well done. Like I said earlier, from the advertising campaign to the production and the epilogue, like all this stuff, just really like I feel like maybe brought this genre to a more like larger crowd that normally
Yeah,
wouldn't
being
be.
like a big Nintendo release.
Yeah, because it did do pretty good, and you can read and see all these YouTuber like reactions, people on Twitter who like don't normally play these things, but it was like it came out at the end of August, right in time for Spooky Month. I think,
If it
and it's
wasn't for Fukuyama, it wouldn't have a single pervy thing in it
Yeah.
either.
Hey, you gotta have a little bit of that in this genre.
You
That's
don't
just
gotta.
that's the
You
shade.
don't.
Every single one
Oh,
always
you do,
had
but
that.
maybe not Fukuyama.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that I think that's Emio the Smiling Man. There's not much more I could say without going play by play by play, but we're already like
I
1/8 of the game's length just from this
Go play it. There's so much to
conversation.
talk about.
Yeah,
Just
buy
one
it.
last shout out to a gameplay mechanic. There's one point where you're talking to Kuze and she's like, "You gotta just quit being a detective," and nothing works for you, and you have to pick save/quit. And it's like something you would never think you would pick because it ends the game normally,
Mhm.
but you have to pick it and be like, "I guess I'm walking away as a detective."
It's a little
I
bit
thought
of
that
that.
was really cool.
It's a little bit of that DS magic, like close the game to hit the stamp.
Close the lid.
Yeah, yeah,
Close the
like
lid.
blow on the candles in the microphone to.
Yeah.
I think it had some, it just has that spirit. It has that Nintendo spirit. It has that.
It's very, yeah, you can feel how clean and like polished Nintendo-ly it is. It's hard to encapsulate in words, but it's totally there.
Because there's other visual novels you play, and you could just feel that it's on a shoestring budget. You can just feel that there's, oh my god, the typos in like certain games I've played. Literally, like, I love Archetype Arcadia, but Chapter 5, I don't even know if they played that. Like, it is, the text is so, I can't even begin to explain how bad the typos get. They're not even formatting correctly at a certain point. I'm like, guys, how did this get past anything? Like,
The answer
There
is
was
it
no
ran out of
time. They didn't have the manpower. The
They
guy who
didn't.
was proofreading it had to like go run to the store to get coffee for everyone.
yeah, I
You
actually
gotta release
follow
this
him.
game now.
Yeah, Hodgson, Steiner, something, Andrew Steiner, something like that. I follow him on Twitter. He is like the lifeblood of all these translated visual novels. Like, he is a workhorse. He has been doing this for so long. He's so cool. Thank you for everything you do, dude. Like, a little side tangent, but yeah, he is
There's so
translated.
much wordplay in this stuff too. Like shout outs to
Yeah.
being able to tackle any of this.
He's a master. He
God
slipped
bless
on
you,
Archetype Arcadia. I don't know what you were doing there, bro. When you're
Look, listen. The guys, everyone's human, okay? Listen, guy, get on the
Gets one.
podcast. Come on, get on the podcast. We
Just
want to
don't
talk
mess
to
up
you,
again,
please.
all right?
everyone's human. Get on here. Go on. Get it.
Yeah,
But
come on.
yeah,
Come
We want
on.
to talk to you about it. Archive Arcadia. It'd be fun.
tell me about Steins Gate, the new one that's coming out. I know you're working on it, bro. But yeah, I mean, we could go on literally all day and gush about this, but I think that really is where we're at. I love
I'll
it.
give this a big eggplant smile out of
Nah.
10.
I guess I'm just left wondering. Well, maybe it's too much getting into the weeds. Kuze did a lot of fucked up shit to cause a lot of this game to happen and get some people nearly killed.
Yeah,
He did.
yeah, she
And
kind of
she was
like framed a
irresponsible.
murder and like she tampered with
And
a
she,
murder
like-
scene of a
And she's
child.
like, no seeming guilt about it. It's fucking wild.
It's okay. She
Girl,
wrote a
stone
note
girl.
saying she's sorry, and she actually
okay.
played ukulele while she apologized. So it's really
He
okay.
has so much
Okay.
trauma from her child. Like, it affects us in ways. It made her
does. It's
this
wild.
cold. It made her cold and calculated and determined.
She
Like
joined the force
anything,
because of it.
anything. Yeah, like her life was
The-
changed to do this.
It's a very good yin and yang to Emio. It's just crazy to me as I think about it.
Yeah,
And like
But-
seeing like any jail time or anything, like it's okay, it's understandable.
no.
I mean, it's part of
No, but she got to shoot her brother in the leg, so it's like tit for tat, quid pro quo.
We're even here. But yeah,
Well, she learned her lesson.
but I think that's it. I think we did it. We did Emio after weeks
The
of
smiling
struggling.
man.
Elios, the smiling pan. But yeah, those are our closing remarks on Emio. Thank you for listening to this a little lengthier than normal, but this was just so damn
This
special.
This little cozy novel, this web we wove.
Say that 10 times fast. Don't, please. But yeah, till next time, we have the Hex coming up to round off a spooky
The Hex,
night.
rather.
The Hex. To round off spooky month. And yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you for listening.
Spook you later.
Later.
Later.